What's up? What's up? What's up, everyone? Oh my gosh, come on in. We've got today's cosmic tea. And I'm going to welcome in our co-host, or my co-host, Dr. Olivia Audrey. You guys, today's cosmic tea, we are getting started. So come on in. Let us know where you are from. And here she is. And there we go. Say this is going to be super seamless today, and she's going to come right in. It's going to be great. We want to welcome everybody for today's cut. Oh my God, look at how seamless this worked. We are getting this down, girl. Are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes. Oh my gosh.
Uh,
Guys, did you see how fast we
how
did
are
that?
you? How is everyone? That's so much better. The light is on.
I know. I'm like, wait, where'd you go? Oh my gosh. Okay. So we have today's cosmic tea. We also want to invite you guys. I'm just going to say it right on the front lines here, that we also have our how to get what you want in 7 minutes or less brand new masterclass that we are teaching this evening at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. So we did one on Monday and it was epic. And we're going to be doing another one tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. So if you guys want to join us live for how to get what you want in 7 minutes or less, the ancient principles that we teach to our celebrity clients that we want to bring to you too, we will drop the link below and would love to have you join us. Hi, honey.
Yes. Hi. It was so much fun when we did it on Monday, and we had such an incredible response from people that just got so much out of it. And I think that that's the thing, that people don't realize the steps that they're missing to easily and streamlessly get what they want. And it doesn't have to take years. It can be 7 minutes or less.
Yes. So that is something that we are doing later. We also had our previous cosmic tea where we went into that. What we're going to be talking about today is we want to go deeper into the energy of this October Cosmos month, and speaking into the opportunity to do things a new way that everyone's being presented with. This concept of death and rebirth, this concept of coming into a new sense of self and really next level surrender is what we're actually can title this this cosmic tea. So Liv, you're a master at surrender, and it's something that I know you and I talk about and are always going, okay, I thought I had surrendered, but now I'm really surrendering. Or I thought what I was doing was surrender. And I think there's a misconception around surrendering and just being like, F it, I don't care anymore. And like surrendering and the talks about feminine energy and masculine. And again, I think like there's this whole connotation. If I'm surrendering, does that mean I just don't do anything? Does that mean I have to stop caring? So Liv, in I would love if you could share and break down what surrender has meant for you, and how as an intuitive and medical medium you see that coming into play this month and in the manifestation game and in what people are being presented with the energy of October.
Yeah, so it's such an interesting concept because, as you said, surrender, people typically tend to think that it's some level of defeat, or that it's some level of like, I've exhausted everything and nothing has gone my way, and I have to sort of resolve myself to the fact that what I wanted isn't going to happen. And in fact, it's sort of the opposite concept with a few nuances in that surrender is really about reaching a critical mass or a critical point where you recognize that your way of trying to effort and your way of trying to, as I say, like bushwhack through your day and bushwhack through the energy, which is something I am notorious for, and I'm a lifelong, that's what I do. I just obliterate any obstacle in my way, or I feel like I do anyway. But at what cost, right? And at what cost to my energy? Because there comes a point when you recognize that there's a greater plan, or that there's a greater flow that's occurring around you. And surrender isn't necessarily saying, oh, well, screw it, I'm not going to get what I want. It's more like, this doesn't have to be hard, and this doesn't have to be as hard as I'm making it. So I've really started to replace the moments in my life and the integers where I would say, you know what, I'm going to make it through, I'm going to survive, because surviving fucking sucks. Surviving sucks, right? And people like to think of it as a really glorious thing, which it is. If you're surviving something, that's great, because it means that you're still here. But you don't want to chronically survive, okay? You want to thrive. So when you get in this survival mode, and anybody that's been in sales for any amount of time will be able to sort of echo this, is that it gets really energetically exhausting, and it takes a really big toll on who you are, on your energy, on your mind, all of the different facets of our health, because it's very unnatural. So for every force and for every thought and for every action, there's a counter reaction and counter force. I mean, it's just like basic physics, right? Hopefully everybody knows that. If not, I just taught you something. Look at that. But there's a counter force. And so you have to look at the environment around you as aspects of things and lessons that are always pulling you forward. They're always teaching you something. They're always helping you evolve, or trying to help you evolve. And when you resist that, and when you pull back, and when you say, no, I'm going to, short story, I grew up riding horses, and I learned really easily on that, although a lot of my riding instructors would be like, well, you're in charge here and you're the boss. It was like, no, they're really a 2,000-pound animal that is going to do whatever they want to do. But hopefully I can coerce them or encourage them to do what I want to do, So it was always that analogy where I was like, I don't really agree with you that way. Like, if they could overpower me, and the universe can overpower, the universe holds the ultimate trump card, right? If we're playing universal energetic monopoly, the universe will win every single time. And Melissa and we've talked about this, where you have a situation and you're like, I'm going to make this, fit and flow and all the fit, and it just feels like an uphill battle. And maybe that's what you're supposed to do to learn a lesson. But if that's chronically the case, the universe will really step in and remove that situation from your life, or at least change the way that you're approaching it. Because anything that is constant force and not allowance of a counter force is an imbalance. Say, yes, life can be challenging. Life is filled with curveballs, and we try to give you the tips to field those, and to catch them. But it doesn't have to be hard, because it's just not supposed to be, and because there's no fun in that. Like, what's the fun in waking up every day and shit is just difficult and hard? I'm not saying that you're not going to have to do hard stuff, but you can change the way that you approach it, right? So we see it all the time in fitness, and we talked about this as well, when people say, I have to go work out. And I've even said it myself, and then I'm like, wait, no, I get to go work out. I get to do this thing. I get to, invest my energy into it. And when you start to look at it that way, every conversation, every act, every whatever that you're creating a force for, that there's going to be a counter force, that's an agreement to engage your energy in that. So the whole energy right now, in the month of October, we've just had some really interesting planetary aspects occur. So Saturn is in Aquarius, which I love, but Aquarius is the rule breaker. It's the rebel. Like, we do not let shit just sit there. We're like, oh, what would be cool is if we just flip shit upside down. That would be interesting, right? And I say that as an Aquarius, but that is our energy. And typically we do it because we see a better way. Not just for no reason. So that's the energy. So if you're finding yourself and you're listening and you're like, yeah, I've seen stuff just get sidelined and rearranged and just total, sort of nuttiness, that's a bit of what's happening. And so when we're talking about surrender, that's the best tool you can really have right now in the energy, is to just say, you know what? Melissa, what do we have to say? This or something better? Like, okay, I either want this, or universe, like, you have something better in store. So that's my definition of it. But it's, I used to think surrender was a negative thing, and now I'm like, no, it gets to a point where you can feel your soul and your energy is tired, and you're like, let it flow, like water, let it flow,
Absolutely. So as a recovering perfectionist, and as somebody that was in the energy of, I'm a high achieving woman, and I'm like, let's make shit happen, and let's do, let's go, let's go. And I really used to be like, surrender. Oh, like, it was like a foreign concept, right? And I was like, well, what does that mean? Like, I don't understand. And what I've really taken it to mean, and what I think it's such a beautiful energy, and I think this Mercury retrograde is an amazing time to really enter into this and to allow that energy to take hold, is to actually say, higher self. And this is what I really learned when I really started to open up that full channel and allow it to lead me, was higher self, you know better than me. 10 years ahead of me, 50 years down the line, the path of least resistance, the way better than me. And to actually learn to take myself out of the equation and be that third party observer and go, what is it that I want? Okay. Where is that path of least resistance? Where is there already momentum that's pulling me forward, that already has, what I mean by that, it already has an easy flow to it. It already has a momentum that's driving me forward towards something that's in my favor. It might not be exactly what I had in mind, but let me step aside my mind. Let me be a third party observer and let me take hold. Let you take hold. Let me let you lead through momentum, through what feels good, now feeling good doesn't mean that I'm sitting back and I'm just like, oh yeah, but it's actually me going, okay, I'm clear, and I get that my mind is set up off of all pre-programming based off of my human experience. It's all, my mind is nothing more than a record of the past. And when I'm surrendering, it means I'm surrendering everything I know. And I'm going to allow for something that's so much greater than what I could have anticipated. And that's also very much what we're teaching in our Ultimate Intention courses, in that 30-day manifestation process. And the ancient secrets that we teach is really like honing in on that. But surrender is a huge piece to that, guys. And FYI, our Ultimate Intention course starts tomorrow. I say this because for me, I really had to actually go, wait a minute, and did I really surrender? Am I saying that I surrendered? Am I really allowing the universe to step in? Am I allowing what they have? Because many times I would go, I'm doing all the things, I'm aligning, I'm here, I'm in inspired action. Why isn't it happening? And it's like, oh, that's because I'm looking at it to happen the way that I think it needs to happen. And surrender has really opened me up to, there are many ways for me to get what I want, and not only get what I want and have what I want, but that are so much greater than what I can conceive. And that to me has been that real art and master step of manifestation and surrender, which is like, I'm going to do the inspired action, and I'm going to do the aligning, and I'm going to have faith in it's coming, and I'm going to allow for these other things to take place and ride the wave of them as well. I'm going to be a yes to them if they feel good, right? So it's like, even Olivia and I coming together, it was like, oh, interesting. Okay. Like, that was one of those things where it was like, we just happened to connect. And then we were like, oh, we had this really amazing divine connection. And then we were like, I think a lot of people would really enjoy what we're talking about, right? And then it's been one thing after another that's been a snowball effect. But had I tried to control something, or maybe just had one vision, that then cuts off universal supply. And that's when I find it's hard to actually allow the flow and the surrender.
Yeah, I think that's such a good
for me.
point. I think it's such a good point. For me, I have a, sort of a three rule, a rule of three, meaning that if I'm trying to make plans and say, for example, we're trying to get together with a girlfriend, which I'm sure everybody can appreciate this analogy, and then something after you've made plans, it's all set and so finally you make plans, something goes wrong. You go, okay, well, we'll just, we'll sort of pivot and we'll do it over there. And then something else goes wrong. or, you know, and then by the third time something goes wrong, that's when I really start to say, okay, maybe we're not meant to play, or let's see how the energy feels and flows over there. I've had a lot of trips that I've ended up not going on because it was 4, 5, 6, and I'm some perseveres, by the way. We're so three rule where, okay, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe I shouldn't be going here. Maybe it's, you know, an hour later, or maybe it's the next day, or maybe it's not at all. But you have to have a boundary. And when you start looking at, like, besides the whole, it doesn't feel good and it feels like a lot of work, what is it that, you know, isn't lining up in terms of energy? And when you start to really notice that, you will get really, really literate in understanding when you're not supposed to be in a certain place or doing a certain thing, and you'll just learn to listen to it, and the universe will replace it with something better. Always, always, always something better.
Liv, are you there?
Can you hear me?
You've been going in and out, but I think.
Can you hear me okay now?
We gotcha. Yes, this or something better. So, guys, when we're going back to, I love all of that, and I love the rule of 3. And here's the other thing too. When we're looking at this time and surrendering, surrender doesn't mean like, I really want to, I'm just going to say this, because I hear this often. Oh, well, the universe, you know, clearly doesn't want me to do that, or it must not be what's meant to be. And I just want to say this again. If there's a desire in your heart it is meant for you, I just need to preface this because I'm getting to say this, so I'm just going to do it. All too often I hear this in this universal realm of, you know, those that subscribe to the universe, and they're like, oh, well, I must not be meant to go for my dream after they like go on one audition or apply for one new job or decide to go back to school or like all these things. And no, that is not the universe just shutting you down. You have to have faith in yourself. If there is a desire on your heart, it is meant for you. So don't use the universe as an excuse to not continue to go for what you want. That's just your fear talking. So we don't want to start just using like the universe as a reason for, oh, well, the universe must not want me to do this. Like if every famous actor, singer, dancer, performer, artist allowed, you know, struggle or rejection to come into play and would label that as, well, the universe must not want me to do this, then we wouldn't have any sources of inspiration or creative things happening in the world. So you have to have faith, right? Faith is, I have faith in the desires of my heart. I know they are meant for me, even when I don't see the results of their coming, even when I don't see it. So really, really recognize that part of yourself that's like giving into this whole like thing around like manifesting just happens by you sitting every day and chanting. Like you have to take inspired action. You have to have faith in your dreams. You have to be grounded and know that a desire in your heart is meant for you, hands down, and just go. I wouldn't see it. I wouldn't feel it. I wouldn't desire it if it already wasn't done. So my job now is to align to that work. And we're always going to bring you back to that truth, no matter what we're talking about on Cosmic Tea, because at the end of the day, that's like the main takeaway. And surrendering and these other things are about really learning how to do this and decipher those parts of you that are still operating in a different way. Like I had shared with myself, I was like, I was surrendered, but I wasn't. I was still like completely trying to control it. And I was like, but I'm doing the thing, but I was like, oh my God, I'm still trying to control an outcome. I still have an idea that it has to be done this way. I thought I had gotten rid of it. So there's a lot of inner work that comes to fine tuning, even the art of allowance and the art of surrender. Right, Liv? Would you say that's
Yeah.
true?
No, absolutely. And I think that that's the most fulfilling thing that we find, and that we've shared just with our clients is that when you find someone who, is really in search of that alignment, and you can help them find their own personal thermometer of where, is their boundary line and when is their energy being compromised, because it's individual for everyone. There's no one size fits all. We can give you the
Yeah.
tools and we can give you the guidelines, but what feels good for me is not going to feel good for Melissa, and vice versa, because everyone's energy and their human experience has been so different. So when we help people find their personal temperature and thermometer of where their energy ends and the world around them begins, it changes everything. And knowing when to surrender, knowing when to persevere, knowing when to have faith, that is an individual energy read for every single person, because there truly are times when you just need to take a step back and surrender, but always trust that what is for you will not pass you. So even if you take a step back and surrender and it seems like you're not, progressing and just like, hammering it out towards your goal, it may be that the universe has a much faster path over on the left-hand side, that you don't see yet. And so you can't fully appreciate and trust. But it is one of those things that, the more that it's like a muscle, the more that you become acclimated to where that stretches to. So I know when it's time for me to surrender now. At almost 39 years old, I didn't know that in my 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, did not know that. But I'm still learning, and I feel like I know it now. But guess what? That's going to change as I get older and have more life experience. So touching base within yourself and making a list of, what do I feel are my boundaries? Even just listing them out. For example, it could be with friends. What is my word or what is my emotion going to be when I know that I've given too much of my energy and I need to take a step back? And so when you start to feel that emotion, you can identify it and you can be like, oh, I remember what this emotion means to me. Sometimes it's just that energy decoder that we need to make for ourselves that, I found can be a really effective tool.
I love this. And so, it's the other thing that the last piece that we'll share on this is, I know there's a lot of talk around masculine and feminine energy, and you hear Olivia and I talk about that often. And, especially for women, not so much of what are we, Generation Z now? Is it Z or Y?
I think we're on the cusp.
No, what's the one that's going on right now? Is that Z?
Oh, that's,
or what?
Yeah, I think that's Z. I think it's
Z. There isn't the same paradigm, and they're very much more in their feminine than the latter generations. They're really dropped into that. They're only doing what feels good. They're more in the, I want to create. I know I can accrue a lot of wealth. I know I can have it all. That was not for, women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Like, you didn't see a lot of women that had it all, that didn't have it all without sacrifice, didn't have it all without having to choose. And there became this connotation and this big uproar around masculine and feminine energy and like only operate from your feminine. So I know you hear us talk about it, and just to clear it up, we all have feminine and masculine energy. Men have it, women have it. Operating from it, just again, does not mean when you're in your feminine that you're not doing anything. What's beautiful about feminine energy, and we go into this a lot at our Awakened Woman retreats. We have another one coming up. We have a lot of awesome things going on that I'm so excited about that I can't help but share. I'm like, and we've got this, and we've got this, and we've got this. We have one in Dallas, January 28th through the 30th. But what's really cool, and Olivia was, we talk about that there as well, is this Empress energy, which is this feminine energy. And it's this harnessing where a lot happens in the alignment, in the desire, in the energy, in the intention. And again, Olivia and I take a lot of inspired action to give us the success, the joy, the love, all the things that we have. So, that you don't just sit home. You can't sit home and be like, love's going to come to my door, and you have to do those things. But what's different when you're doing that is it feels different. It feels expansive. It feels like a get to. It feels like, oh my God, I just can't wait to do the damn thing. Like, I just can't wait to do this. And things just keep happening and aligning where all of a sudden you'll get somebody that's like, oh, I'd like to invest in your business. And you're like, oh, really? Oh, this many people signed up for this. And you're like, oh, we didn't even advertise it. Or like, we've only promoted it for a day. And like, there's just this energy behind it, this universal force that takes hold. And so, Olivia, is there anything you wanted to say about that energy?
No, I think that's my favorite part of it is when you become accustomed to it, knowing when to take that inspired action. And these are things that, you know, we're going to go far into, we're going to dive deep in tonight, actually, in our webinar. But it really is, that's the good stuff. When you take the action that feels like it comes out of nowhere, and then it leads to the biggest breakthrough. So that's the good stuff.
Yeah, it's really amazing. So if you guys want to join, we will put the link below. But tonight's webinar, how to get what you want in 7 minutes or less, our ancient manifesting secrets that we do with our elite clients and celebrity clients, that works like magic, that we can't wait to share with you. It's awesome, and you have not heard it before, which that is for sure. So we want to invite you to that. It's at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight. We would love for you to be there with us live, and we take your questions and guide you through that process, and you can start it right away. Yeah.
Yay. No, we love you all so much. Please DM us with any questions or, you know, just comments. What do you guys like seeing? Hit us up, let us know, and we will catch you next week on another episode of Cosmic Tea.
Bye, guys.
Bye.